For 16 straight years, Prime Minister Viktor Orban maintained absolute control over Hungarian politics, backed by a persistent parliamentary supermajority. During that time, he built an illiberal state by stacking the courts with loyalists, transferring independent news outlets to government-friendly owners, and rewriting election laws to favor his own party. With his power consolidated at home, Orban became the European Union's primary internal disruptor, often using Hungary's veto to stall collective decisions while positioning himself as a vital ally to Vladimir Putin. The traditional Hungarian opposition spent a decade losing ground to this machine. By 2024, the system appeared so efficiently rigged that defeating the ruling party at the ballot box seemed impossible. The first crack appeared in February 2024, when news broke that a presidential pardon had been granted to a man convicted of covering up child sexual abuse at a state-run orphanage. The public backlash was immediate. Within days, President Katalin Novak, who had signed the pardon, resigned. Justice Minister Judit Varga, the official who countersigned the document, also stepped down. Péter Magyar was Varga's ex-husband and a deep insider within the ruling party. Instead of staying quiet, he resigned from his state-owned corporate boards and began detailing the exact mechanisms of corruption within the administration. The government had spent years campaigning on traditional family values. Now, a high-ranking defector was dismantling that image, using his own first-hand knowledge of the regime's inner workings. Magyar channeled the public outrage into a new political vehicle. By March 2024, he launched the centrist Tisza party to challenge his former bosses directly. Recognizing the momentum, several ineffective opposition parties deliberately withdrew. They realized that running their own separate campaigns would only guarantee a victory for the incumbent. In a winner-take-all system, 5 or 6 small parties cannot compete with a single ruling monolith. By merging those fractions into one massive bloc, the opposition stripped away the incumbent's primary advantage. This turned every district into a head-to-head race, bypassing constructed legal barriers. By the time the 2026 election arrived, the Tisza party absorbed almost the entire anti-regime vote, turning a scattered electorate into a unified force. The state responded with force. Government-aligned media ran coordinated smear campaigns, and police raided the homes of Tisza party IT specialists on manufactured charges. Magyar countered by bypassing state-run television networks entirely. He organized enormous rallies in town squares and coordinated a massive following on social media that the state could not censor. He took his message out of the capital and into rural villages, the heart of the ruling party's base. He convinced voters in these strongholds that the family values they were promised had been replaced by corruption. On April 12, 2026, Hungarian voters arrived at the polls in record numbers. Turnout hit nearly 80%, the highest in the country's modern history. This chart shows the result. The Tisza party secured 141 out of 199 seats. The landslide was so large that the ruling party lost its ability to block legislation for the first time in 16 years. By winning over the rural firewall, Magyar outmaneuvered a map that was designed to make him lose. Capturing 2/3 of parliament granted the Tisza party the legal authority to unilaterally rewrite the constitution. Magyar immediately began dismantling the autocratic framework. He stripped state control from the judiciary, opened up the media, and implemented a strict 2-term limit for any future prime minister. Instead of simply taking over the system, he was structurally removing the tools that allowed the previous government to capture the state. The financial markets reacted instantly, sending the Hungarian forint to a 4-year high. In Brussels, the result was met with relief as the new government pledged to restore Hungary as a working partner within the European Union. The shift removed a major ally for Vladimir Putin and cut off a primary source of disruption within Western institutions. Change in Hungary didn't come from the traditional opposition, but from a high-level defector who knew how to use the system against itself. It was a demonstration of how a unified electorate can peacefully dismantle even the most entrenched political machine.